So it raises the stakes, and getting the correct legal name of a registered organization, which is another new term, which means a registered organization is an organization where the state maintains a public record of the organization's name, or must maintain a public record of the organization's name. Showing that it existed.
I've heard it sometimes referred to as the state issues a birth certificate.
Right.
Did you know in 2022 you are having your children at funding hospitals? Okay. The word hospital implied the hospitality shown to the children in their care rather than a place for the sick. Mothers brought their babies to the hospital where they were be given a new name. A new name, right? Now check. For children who had been abandoned or exposed and left for the public to find and save. Okay? So now look, you go get that birth registration, right? Filing registration of funding births. See that? Funding births, right? A registration form for each funding child shall be filed within 10 days after the child has been first delivered to the custody of a person, agency, or institution. Not mommy or daddy, agency or institution, right? Agency or institution, right? If the child later identified an original certificate of birth is found or created, the funding certificate shall be sealed. So if you bring them U.S.A.R birth certificate, their certificate shall be sealed and filed and may be opened only by court order. See that? That's what we doing in 2022. We taking our babies to funding hospital, not understanding the policies and the codes, right? So y'all see the statute, right? Information reported of person who assumes custody of live born infant of unknown parentage. Assumes custody of live birth infant of unknown parentage. The person who assumes the custody of the live birth infant of unknown parentage shall report on a form in a manner prescribed by the state registrar with 5 working days to the Cabinet for the Health and Family Service the following, right? So all that listed. The place where the child was found. See, you go into these hospitals and they act like you giving it to them. The place where the child was found shall be entered as the place of birth. Where the child was found. You see what I'm saying? If the child is identified and the certificate of birth is found or obtained, you see what I'm saying? You see the words? They playing on words, man. Registering your child, man, it's crazy. Know what you're doing. Read that contract.
Story of a mother. And the story of a mother, I was told afterwards from just about everybody that this is the most important story that should be told to every man, woman, and child on earth, but that they don't want me to tell it. You never tell me not to do something that's right, because then I'm going to tell it over and over and over again. Okay? A mother, 9 months pregnant, pay close attention to this, guys. I'm telling you, it's important for your life, your children's lives, your grandchildren's lives, for generations to come. But a mother, 9 months pregnant, walks into a foundling hospital. What is the legal definition of the word foundling? It's a safe place to abandon a child. Did you know all churches, all hospitals, all police stations, and all fire stations in the United States are designated as foundling by Congress? You can take a baby and put it in a basket and walk into any of those 4 locations and set that basket down on the floor and smile and wave and walk out without any consequences to yourself whatsoever. Can you even imagine that? That you can abandon a child? But they designated those places as foundling hospitals. Did they tell you? on a brass plaque somewhere in an obscure location inside the hospital, probably under a stairwell, it says this hospital is a foundling hospital. Foundling Hospital. So a mother, 9 months pregnant, walks into a foundling hospital. She goes through a major medical procedure called childbirth, where she's in pain and under duress. She's probably under the influence of painkillers of some type. You gotta be pretty tough to give birth. I wouldn't want to do it. Anyway, she has that beautiful baby, and all she's thinking about is getting home with it and leaving. But see, the baby in history, throughout history, came out of the water, was tugged through the birth canal, was docked at the dock by the dock tender, where a bill of lading was filled out and received on the cargo, where its soul was taken, its soul plates, the footprints of the baby. The placenta was taken. Okay? They took the baby's soul, then they sent it out with a tug and is presumed dead and lost at sea until it should return and claim its minor estate. No physician delivers a baby. Only a doctor does. Doctor is dock tender. The baby is a vessel, a ship. That's where the all caps name comes in. If you look at the names of ships, they're in all capital letters. Okay? No one disclosed the terms and conditions of the contract, yet you were handed a stack of papers to fill out, and you were only told, and this was right out of the nurse's manual, this is just to register your baby with the state and to give it a name. And you fill out the paperwork, and you name your baby, and you sign as an informant. What is the legal definition of the word informant? Someone who gives someone else up to another, thereby giving the title and equity of your child to the state. This creates a doctrine called parens patriae. Guess I should write that. It's Latin for state is your parent. State is the parent. Creates the doctrine of parens patriae. Through this doctrine, that's how they have control over you. And through your consent of being a citizen, a person, a resident. 3 things you never want to be. I hope the chair's not too comfortable.
Certificate. All right, and what it says is a formal document which at this time, I really don't care what it is, but that's what it is. It's a formal document, a birth certificate, and you can go ahead and read the rest of that definition there. First thing we want to go do is look at document, and here we have, again, 5th edition, document, an instrument on which this whole part down here, I really don't care a whole bunch about, but this part I do care about. I'll see also instrument, because up here, that's what they tell you a document is, at least a legal document. And instrument. Okay, so, okay, we're going to go look at instrument, of course. And right here we got instrument, and it says a written document, a formal legal document. Now remember, that's what a birth certificate is, a formal document in writing. But it's instrument. So here we got right here, it says instrument, a written document. That's one definition. Okay?
And then you see a formal or legal document in writing, right? Such as a contract, a deed, will, bond, or lease, a negotiable instrument defined in UCC, or a security. Your birth certificate is a security, right? Defined in UCC, or any other writings, which evidence a right to The payment of money. The payment of money.
Formal or legal document in writing, such as a contract, deed, will, bond, or lease, a negotiable instrument as defined by the Uniform Commercial Code. And go ahead and take a second to check out that definition, because that's what the birth certificate is tied up right in here, right? Because that's what the birth certificate is an instrument. Okay. And one quick look at the word I want to check out is will, and it's when we talk about the will, when it says a formal document could be a will, well, this is take a quick look at these definitions here.
Will.
All right.
So you define as an instrument.
One is particular, this one right here.
Property.
Choice. Okay? All right.
No one could deny that there was a strong feeling among those representing secured creditors who were active in the drafting process that trustees should be deprived of assets. But I think when you come down to the bottom line,
Do you see how these evil people work with the words? Huh? Because what he's saying is that the secured creditors should be able to deprive you of your assets. That's what he's talking about, people. That the trustee, which is you, and I'll get into that trust here in a second, and we're gonna go start with the Uniform Commercial Code, Article 9, and we're gonna talk about here. We're gonna look at the. Let's go here first. And here we have the definition for registered organization under Article 9 of the Uniform Commercial Code. Registered organization means an organization. That's what it is. It's an organization that is organized solely under the law of a single state or the United States, and as to which the state or United States must maintain a public record showing that the organization to have been organized. Now, don't that sound familiar? That's exactly what that lady told us it was. And then also the legal name of that registered organization, the legal name of that organization. The next thing we're going to look at is that the definition of organization. This comes out of Article 1, general definitions, because it's not in Article 9.
Other than division.
An organization means a person other than an individual. Okay, let me get back there. Yeah, here we go. Means a person other than an individual. Well, what's a person? Well, here it is. Person means an individual no, it's other than individual. So we're going to leave that out. We're just going to scratch that out per this up here. All right, so a person means a corporation, business, trust, estate, trust, partnership, limited liability company, association, joint venture, government, governmental subdivision, agency, or instrumentality. Now you should read that like this. You should read that as a government subdivision, agency, government agency, or government instrumentality, or you can read it as a governmental subdivision, governmental agency, or governmental instrumentality. Which that's this right here we're going to talk about why that is here in a second. Or any other legal or commercial entity. Now think about this for a second. It's a legal or commercial entity. That's going to come into play too, because being an entity, it's that fictional thing. Okay, let me move on here to the next one. Let me see what I got here. All right, we're talking about security. What's a security interest? Well, it means interest in personal property or fixtures which secures payment or performance of an obligation.
Security.
Okay, that's very important right there. And when we look at the security interest, remember Article 9 governs security interest. One other definition I want you to pay attention to is this part right here. Okay? The secured party means a person in whose favor a security interest is created or provided for under a security agreement, whether or not any obligation is to be secured is outstanding. A person that holds an agricultural lien, he's a secured party. A cosigner, he's a secured party. A person to which accounts, chattel paper, payment tangibles, or promissory notes have been sold, he's a secured party. I like this definition right here. All right, because we all know we all want that to be that secured party status, and we're going to talk about a trustee, indenture trustee, which is an interesting term right there. A trustee, indenture trustee, agent, collateral agent, or other representative in whose favor a security interest or agricultural lien is created or provided for, or and there's another option. You can go check that out if you want it for yourself. Okay. And how we what's the nationality of that little thing there? And one of the first thing I want to look at, and this is KRS 213.011, this definition for chapters for this chapter. All right, and I want to look at this definition right here. File means the presentation of a vital record for registration. All right, so what's registration mean? We already know that. File means the presentation of a vital record. So let's go down here and look at what registration is. Well, the registration here we got right here. Registration means the acceptance by the Vital Statistics Branch, okay, and the incorporation of vital records provided for in this chapter into its official records. So we have, up here we have a file, which is a presentation, and down here we have a registration means an acceptance. Now remember, they tell you that your birth registration is required, right? Well, this is 213.046. It tells you registration of births required. So what are they saying? They're saying acceptance of the presentation is required. Not that you have to offer, but that they have to accept. Anyways, this is and you see the things up there, right there. But this little interesting sentence right here says it all. No certificate shall be held to be complete. Here, let me blow that up for you. No certificate shall be held to be complete and correct. It does not supply all items of information called for in this section and in 213.051. So we know where we're going next, people. Contents of birth certificate. 213.051. Contents of birth certificate. Now, I'm going to take just about 25, 30 seconds.
Person who's assumed custody of a live-born infant of unknown parentage. Unknown parentage. Unknown parentage.
And so let you read that, let that sink in for a second.
There you go. You abandoned. Lost at sea.
Maybe I'll throw a little bit of music in right here.
Presumed
We start
dead.
some out. But go ahead and read that.
Unknown parentage. The person who assumes the custody of a live-born infant of unknown parentage.
All right. Before I go anywhere else, I'm going to jump back over here to the United States Code, Section 1401, National and Citizens of the United States at birth. All right. You want to know how you became a national and citizen of the United States at birth? Here's why. A person of unknown parentage found in the United States while under the age of 5 until shown prior to his attaining the age of 21 not to have been born in the United States. So that's a clue right there, folks. That right there, prior to his changing not to have been born in the United States. There's an opportunity there. But that's how, you became a national and a citizen of the United States, because That's what, go look up the definition of illegitimate child, and you'll see, if you look at the cases regarding illegitimate children are considered persons within the equal protection of the law and under the 14th Amendment. So, that's how they got you. But anyways, let me go here to, we got that, we looked at that. All right, so now we got this birth certificate, all right, and we could speculate how this organization was created, but it stands to reason that when somebody claimed to have found an infant of unknown parentage, this is what created the trust, the organization, all right, just legally speaking. If you know anything about illegitimate children, well, illegitimate children are children of the people. They're no, they don't have parents. Which, by the way, is a very interesting thing, because if you go look up parent in the legal dictionary, it says the agency or organization to which a child has been placed with for care, which is what we're going to get to. That damn agency. What happened is when they made that filing and that information was handed over, this created what is called nowadays as a statutory trust, and the estate of the child was probated. Right? And I'm gonna probably not in this video. I only get 20 minutes, but in a future video, I'm going to tell you where all those accounts come from. Through the probate court, being that the trustees are allowed to issue securities against the trust property, which, by the way, is you, or should I say the infant's body and his human capital, because that's what he's considered as capital goods used in the production of other goods and services. But I don't want to get off track here. I only get 20 minutes. Well, what happens is you can go down here and look talk about governing instrument. Well, that's what the birth certificate is, folks. And if you know anything about agency, you do have an estate in the estate of the organization, of the trust. That's why you were given a certificate, because you're a beneficial owner. But if you use it, then you also become co-trustee. If you've never used a birth certificate, that's a good thing. And well, anyways, this is what controls it. An entity is created, okay? This organization, and it's on file. And looking at I wanted to show this part right here, because this all governs what the trustees can invest the securities in. If you got time to look at that right there.
Securities.
Right. Anyways, if you're going to, since you're considered a citizen of the United States, which is located in District of Columbia, and you can see Article 9, I think it's 9-307, location of the debtor. But anyways, in this Business Entity Act, if you want to do business here in Kentucky, you have to follow the rules of Kentucky Business Act. And we go back here and I can show you the mandatory rules and the other things that are required for a trust to do business in Kentucky. And they have to comply with these regulations and statutes right here, 14A Business Entity Filing Act, because that's what it is. It's a legal and commercial entity, an organization, and the legal name of that organization is your all cap name. Like I said, I only got 20 minutes, but what I wanted to go down here for is because, okay, since now that we know that that it's an organization, as a matter of fact, it's a registered organization, what is your relationship to it? And that's what we all want to know, right? So this is where this video, I hope, and we're going to let the judge tell us what he thinks this guy's relationship to that entity is.
Sir, are you here on behalf of Mr. Thompson?
I said I was the administrator for that account.
Are you here as agent for
Would
him?
you guys please...
You hear me? He said, are you here as agent for him? Now listen to him again. He's going to get the guy another out.
Are you here as agent for him?
Not as agent, as administrator, much like you are administrator of this court.
Sir, you're either him or you are here as his agent.
All right, do you hear what he just said? You are either him or you are his agent. And that's exactly right. And here's why I know that is because one, the court papers that I have regarding operating an agency, a state agency, the judge did put in the paperwork that yes, I did operate the state agency and was found guilty of operating a state agency, that being the birth certificate. And
Birth certificate.
and that's also confirmed through my local county clerk of courts. She verified to me that it's an agency, and also a bailiff in court who was a sheriff of the county for a long time. He looked like he was about 85 years old, but he also confirmed that to me. He knows what it is. Now, when we say agency, we can also say trust, okay? Because that's a fiduciary relationship. And an agency is a fiduciary relationship, and so is a trust. But if you follow me, when you get your birth certificate and you go down and you put it into the Department of Motor Vehicles and you apply for an operator's license, what's really going on there is that you're saying you have proof that you have this public record showing that this organization was organized, and that you're registering with the state or applying to the state to operate that entity within the grounds. That's why you can't hardly do no business without your IDs and things, because nobody's doing no business unless they're backed insured, and that's where your social and security and social insurance comes from, is that you're backed by that. You know, you're insured. So what you're actually considered as, since you're of unknown parentage, your nationality is that of the United States, which is located in the District of Columbia. You're actually considered a citizen / national of the District of Columbia. It's a state. And you're a citizen, or your status is that of a national or citizen of the United States, which is located in the District of Columbia. So now you go here. So since you were considered of unknown parentage, that automatically it made you a pauper, because you didn't have a person, because a person is inherited. A man's person is inherited. My person is my father's person, is his father's person, is his father's person. And by person, I mean the estate, because without an estate, there really isn't a person. But anyways, so when you get pulled over, you're actually, they're telling you that, you're operating an agency, and you can actually go look and see where the, matter of fact, let me show you that right here real quick. You want to go to 189 real quick. 189, this is what you get a ticket for under the traffic regulations. And I just want to go quickly to the definitions. And real quick. Right here. 19, vehicle, all agencies. 4. Well, we don't really care about what it says. It's 4. What is it? What is a vehicle? A vehicle is all agencies, no matter what kind of agency. It's all agencies. And the term motor vehicle includes all vehicle as defined in paragraph A of this section. So what is a motor vehicle? It's an agency. What is a vehicle? It's an agency. Okay? And I hope you get that real quick. Let me jump here while I'm here. When we talk about what your rights is, right here, and these statutes only give you clues and evidence. And it says here, highway. Highway means every way or place of whatever nature when any part of it is open to the use of the public as a matter of right.
Got it right.
License or privilege. So are you traveling the highway as a matter of right, license, or privilege for the purpose of vehicular traffic? So when we talk about the commerce, as long as you're not operating an agency, it appears to me that you still operate, do commerce without a license.
and you're going to find this registration. Typing in United States Corporation Company, and you're going to type the date. This is the only way to find this document. You're going to type the date. I believe it's July 15th, 1925, and you're going to find this registration number, 100,009, and then put the words PDF at the end, and you'll be able to find this document. Now, this was registered in 1925, just before the bankruptcy of 1933. That means they knew this was going to happen. This was on the table. They were going to file bankruptcy, and this is where we start to get the issuance of uncertificated securities, such as social security numbers. Okay? And you'll find the actual owners. This entire company began off of $100. And yet they owe $22 trillion, and guess who's paying it? The citizens. Those who have acquiesced and do not understand that they are truly nationals of the state they were born in. You were born in New Hampshire, you were New Hampshireite. You were born in California, you're a California national. Just like you say an Italian national. It's the same thing. But if you consider yourself a U.S. citizen, you are now responsible for all the debt that they are placing upon you as one of their corporations, or should I say sub-corporations. The owners is right here. Harry O. Coughlin, Samuel B. Howard, Arthur W. Brighton. Now, this was done back in 1925. I know they're, maybe some are still here, but I rest assured we have new officers in these positions today. And a lot of them are overseas, Morocco, China, other countries.
Kingdom of Morocco.
So that's the Articles of Incorporation, just like how you would have your own when you set something up with your Secretary of State. So they have done the same thing. They've created a corporation using the same name that's on your birth certificate, and they used this certificate as a bond to trade back and forth with other countries. Now let's see how this began. We're going to go to this bankruptcy statement by the senator. Let's read here. United States Congressional Record, March 17, 1993, Volume 33, page H 1303. Speaker, Senator James Traficant Jr. of Ohio, addressing the House. Mr. Speaker, we are here now in Chapter 11. Members of Congress are official trustees presiding over the greatest reorganization of any bankrupt entity in world history, the U.S. government. We are setting forth, hopefully, a blueprint for our future. There are some who say it is a coroner's report that will lead to our demise. It is an established fact that the United States federal government has been dissolved by the Emergency Banking Act of March 9, 1933. 48 Stat 1, Public Law 89-719, declared by President Roosevelt, being bankrupt and insolvent. House Joint Resolution 192, 73rd Congress, Session June 5, 1933. Joint resolution to suspend the gold standard and abrogate the gold clause dissolved the sovereign authority of the United States and the official capacities of all United States government offices, officers, and departments, and is further evidence that the United States federal government exists today in name only.
Name only.
That's because the Republic, the Confederation, the United States of America has been dissolved.
In name
and
only.
That was established in the year 1787.
The U.S. government exists today in name only. In name only.
2 years later, 1789, that Republic Constitution was changed in 1789 into that Republic Constitution was changed to a democratic in 1789 into a democracy. It says the receivers of the United States bankruptcy are the international bankers via the United Nations, the World Bank, and the International Monetary Fund.
IMF.
All United States offices, officials, and departments are now operating within a de facto status in name only under emergency war powers.
Emergency
That
war
means
powers. You hear that? De facto status in name only under emergency war powers. Bow.
every single president that we have had since the initial, I would say, the initial emergency war, what does it say here? The Emergency Banking Act of 1933, every single president we've had since then has been acting as if we are in war and utilizing the citizens to pay for everything that war consists of.
Bow.
It's an excuse. It's like in the Matrix. You are the battery to fund and provide the energy, the labor for everything. 40, 40, 40. 40% labor, 40% earnings, and 40% retirement. The power of three. With the constitutional Republican form of government now dissolved, the receivers of the bankruptcy have adopted a new form of government for the United States. This new form of government, now as a democracy, being an established socialist communist order under a new governor for America.
You see that? Socialist communist, right? The new form of government known as democracy. Democracy. Come on, man. Pledge of Allegiance don't say democracy, it say republic.
They just told you that democracy is socialist and communist. It's fraud and unjust. This act was instituted and established by transferring and or placing the office of the Secretary of Treasury to that of the Governor of the International Monetary Fund.
IMF.
Do you see that? Your U.S. Secretary of Treasury is a pawn. He doesn't do anything. He makes you believe he's doing something, but he is a proxy. Just like we set up your sole trustee to create that your trust is foreign, who hires you as the co-trustee, you are the proxy for them so that way you can control your trust. It's the same thing. The true owners of this United States federal corporation is the International Monetary Fund. They have a governor who is truly pulling the strings. However, they're hiding behind the U.S. Secretary of Treasury. The U.S. Secretary of Treasury receives no compensation for representing the United States. Wow. So you can continue reading. They're bartering with your labor and holding you responsible for the debt. If my son or daughter is born tomorrow, 30 days later, I get a birth certificate for them. The registrar in that county registers their name as a sub-corporation within the United States corporation system. They then take that certificate of live birth and trade it to one of the top 5 countries that own the United States debt. So far we have Japan is number 1, China, Ireland, Luxembourg. So that's 1, 2, 3, United Kingdom, that's 3, 4, China, and number 5, Japan. Those birth certificates are going to be traded on the stock market or the Forex, foreign exchange market, with these countries. And they will issue a bond, and then the U.S. takes that bond down to the U.S. Treasury. They print the money, and guess who is backing it up? The Federal Reserve Bank. And so they collect taxes, and that money is going to the Federal Reserve when they drew a check that had nothing in it. All of their checks bounce because of nothing in it. So who's funding this entire thing? We are, the people, and we don't know it. About birth certificates, this is the only state that gives up the evidence on this. Let's read. The Registrar of Titles is authorized to receive for registration. For me, it would be James Green. Remember his name on my birth certificate. He is authorized to receive for registration of memorials upon any outstanding certificate of title and official birth certificate pertaining to a registered owner named in said certificate of title. You see, they called the birth certificate a certificate of title. This is the title to your body, the title to your commercial avatar in business. You are in a commercial business because it exists within a U.S. corporation. This is the title to your sub-corporation known as first name, middle name, last name. That's the world we live in. Showing the date of birth of said registered owner, providing there is attached to the said birth certificate an affidavit of an affiant who states that she is familiar with the facts recited, stating that the party named in said birth certificate is the same party as one of the owners named in said certificate of title, and that thereafter the Registrar of Titles shall treat said registered owner as having attained the age of majority at a date 18 years after the date of birth shown by said certificate. If you do not do this affidavit by 18, they are going to consider you a minor. Even if you are 65 and you've never done this, you are considered a minor. And so, if you go to another country that is a part of the Hague Convention, they're looking at you as an adopted child from the U.S. subcorporation to Japan's subcorporations. You see how that works? You must declare that you are able to handle your own business. If you don't handle your own business, guess what? Someone else is going to handle it for you. All of your finances and affairs. This is how you avoid probate. You must do this process. Highly important. Now let's look at a list of the non-Hague countries, because you're going to use one of these to go on your cover sheet for the birth certificate authentication. I used Thailand. It's still here on the list. I have private boxes. Or let's see, number 2, a debtor that is an organization, LLC, corporation, and organization also means individual, and has only one place of business is located at its place of business. Do you see that? If you only have one place of business, talking about primary residence, they're going to consider that the location of a place of business because that address is inside of their zips, their zoning. And to H, it says the location of the United States is located in the District of Columbia. Now this is in between Maryland and Virginia. If I go to Virginia, I can find the United States Corporation Company. Click on that. It says that it's
United States Corporation Company, stock corporation, active in good standing, 05-2002.
still active. And here we are. Here are the new owners of the corporation. Our officers. The president is Rodman Ward. The vice president is George Massey. And the CFO is E.J. Dealey. And they're all based out of Delaware. Why? Delaware is known as the first state, and it is one of the best states to have discretionary trust. So they are hiding other members of the trust for this corporation in Delaware. I believe if you go to Delaware's website and you try to make an account and try to pull up their information, you still can't get in, even if you pay the fee. Trust me, I've tried. There are companies, corporations, and corporations behind other corporations before you can get to the actual door to reveal the veil. And for good reason, okay? You can look at the same thing for Maryland. Here we go, the United States Corporation Company. Principal office is in Baltimore, Maryland. This is the address. However, that's just one. And they barely give you any information. Let's look at the filing history here. So you can go in and find additional information if you want to, but I say Maryland and Virginia because we have the Catholic crest here. This is Mary's land, and D.C., Columbia, is in between Mary's land and Virginia. The Virgin Mary is in between, and they gave birth to a corporation that is running everything here in North America. We're going to look at UCC 8-112. This is a creditor's legal process. I talked about the trust having the right to utilize that certificate of title. If you go down to section D, it says the interest of a debtor in a certificated security, that's the birth certificate, for which the certificate is in the possession of a secured party. That's the trust. Or in an uncertificated security, this is the social security number, registered in the name of a secured party. Or a security entitlement maintained in the name of a secured party may be reached by a creditor by legal process upon the secured party. So, if your trust is the creditor of these securities, no other agency, such as the IRS, court systems, can come after the trust property because the trust owns the title to everything, and it starts with the birth certificate. Okay? So you must get that. And quite honestly, if you go to the very final page of your authentication process, they're going to give you this seal here from the Department of State, and they give you the laws that backs up what we're doing right here at the bottom. I'm going to pull up some of these laws right now. Here's one of them, 28 U.S.C. 1733. Let's go down to B. Properly authenticated copies or transcripts of any books, records, papers, or documents of any department or agency of the United States shall be admitted in evidence equally to the originals. You see, this birth certificate is a certificate of the original. The original is called a certificate of live birth. This is just a certification of that. So we have to make this on par with the original in order to say we have a certificate of title to give to the trust. Okay, so when you fully authenticate on every level of government, you have now made this on par with the original. So with mines, I went to the Secretary of State.
The strawman is your name written in block letters. Very simple. It was done at birth. What the government did, or the corporations now, not government, what they did is they took your birth certificate and made a second birth certificate with a trust, a CIST-QV trust. They made it in all block letters.
A citizen of the United States is a civilly dead entity operating as a co-trustee and co-beneficiary. Bow. living souls are thus turned into fictions and are traded as human chattel on stock markets, making profits for the parent corporations. See how they put that parent when you take them to the hospital and you give them to the state? Parent corporation.
And for them to interact with you, they have to interact with you as a fiction, because they're all corporations. Corporations cannot interact with real people. So they made a straw man. They call it a straw man because it has no soul and it's spiritually dead.
So let's break this down. You're born in the hospital room. A certificate of live birth is issued.
What happens is that she has to register the child's birth. She has to go to the registration office and register. If she does not register, she will be taken to court, according to what the law is saying. They take the birth certificate that she registered as an informant then that she has the child, and they made a duplicate in all block letters. She didn't, they did.
So they turned a living child now into a trust, into a fiction.
Trust, yes.
Which has a certain value allocated to it.
Value, yes. Millions of dollars or pounds.
And that trust, let's call it a bond. Because that effectively becomes traded thereafter.
Yes, it becomes warehouse bond for money.
So every human being that is being registered to the state or the crown by the mother ends up becoming some kind of bond that is traded on the stock market.
Yes.
Without you ever knowing it.
Yes, without disclosing. And this is happening since the early 1900s. What they've done is really fraud, because they're fraudulently taking your child's birth certificate and make it into a dead entity. The dead entity birth certificate is making billions of pounds or dollars, depends on which country you're in. So your straw man is considered a dead entity and the corporation can interact with it. If you have to go to court, it's not going to be in your real name because they don't have it. All they have is the dead entity and they interact with that.
If the American people allow private banks to control the issuance of their currency, first by inflation and then by deflation, the banks and corporations that will grow up around them will deprive the people of all their property until their children will wake up homeless. Thomas Jefferson.
Of the value of your bond as it's being traded?
I would say the Federal Reserve, which belongs to the royal family, and the HMRC, IRS, these are the people where your money goes once you are registered. The mother registers you, that's where the money goes, to them.
Okay, let's talk about the difference between your signature and your autograph.
Okay, a signature is under the UCC, which is the fiction, the straw man. Your autograph is the real person. So if you go up to a movie star and says, "Can I have your autograph?" You never say, "Can I have your signature?" It's always autograph because you have flesh and blood. Signature is what you're signing every time they can go into your account and take money.
And every time you do sign a piece of paper, you can bet that that signature of yours is being monetized, securitized.
It is. By the banks, by everybody that you, wherever you sign, credit cards, everything that you sign, they're getting funds off your trust fund from that birth certificate.
Okay, so fees and all sorts of things and invisible costs are being discharged against your birth bond in that sense?
Yes.
Without you ever knowing about it?
Without you ever knowing about it, yes. It was never disclosed to you. All that stuff was done without disclosing, and it's deception, it's fraud, and it's happening every day to everyone that's outside the inner circle.
Okay, let's talk about the court system, because invariably...
Well, at the moment we don't have a court of law. We have a color of law, which is fiction. So when you go into a court system here or America, You walk into a system where there is no law, so it is lawless. So when you go in there and you speak to somebody doing business as a judge, there is no judge. You could ask the judge to see his oath. He doesn't have one.
He's a cashier.
Yeah, he's a banker.
A banker.
Yes. So when you sign any papers in the court, that's when he gets paid out of your 60 QV trust on your birth certificate. That's where he gets the money. If you go into the court, you still lose because it is not a court of law for you.
In a situation like that, when should you use your signature and sign something, and when shouldn't you?
There is a special way of, under the UCC, we go back to that, there's a special way of signing without responsibility for your signature. So that if you sign in the special way according to the UCC, you're not responsible for anything that's on the paper.
Okay. Now, for the layman, describe UCC. What are we talking about?
Okay.
What is the UCC?
The UCC is a set of codes that was set up over 100 years ago by lawyers. And with the Uniform Commercial Code comes contract law. It's all to do with contract. So we are not under any law. We're just under contract. Someone could call you up and says, oh, would you like to contract with me to get TV license or to get something that you need, and you contract. Telephone, everything is contract, everything. And under the UCC, you do not have to sign. A stamped signature or a typed up signature is considered signed under the UCC. So when you get a letter in the mail and it has no signature, or you just have a stamped signature, then it is considered signed. The UCC is very, very important for people to learn about what's going on with their lives, because we are under contract law, no other law. There is no law at all. In America, the court system is operated under military. When you walk into a courtroom, I don't care which courtroom, if it's a higher court or a lower court, they're under the military. Now you walk in there and you're not a military member, and you're not told that you've been tried under the military. If you mention the Constitution, the judge says it does not apply in my courtroom. But you don't know what he's saying, because you don't know what they're doing to you when you're there.
And all of that language is designed to confuse the hell out of you.
Yes, it's designed under the UCC, and they know. They know what they're doing, and they know how to manipulate you.
So you're saying all judges are very schooled and versed in UCC?
Yes.
They're taking special training schools in order to learn this?
Yeah, the president appoints all the federal judges in America. And they go to Scottsdale, Arizona and Reno, Nevada to train how to apply this fraud contract in the courtroom.
And in the United Kingdom?
The United Kingdom, majority of the judges here in the United Kingdom are not judges. They're just doing business. They might be a retired lawyer. They're doing business as judge.
And so-called judges in Malawi and in Canada?
All of them, exactly the same system. They're under the UCC.